what's up, world or worlds? Um, you know, different worlds have different frequencies. Even though we all descend from different worlds. Like for instance, when Jesus, the story of Jesus, he was going to be the king of the Jews, the new people. How is it that one world has so many people, and then all of a sudden, you have the messengers and you have gods like Hermes and all that come to people and say, hey, this so and so, protect him. We're going to have new people. He's going to be the king of those people. Blah 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 blah. It's because all of these time loops, they come together like astral projected, like lights, like two flashlights on a wall that are separate. When they come together, that's purge and merge. When you have that type of thing happen, all of a sudden, two become one becomes two, etc., etc. That's the part of manifestation, and uh, all of those different type of scientific terms. And so what I'm trying to say is, whether it's macro or micro, everything is in coordinates to actually be one. When you look at the element chart, you'll see that everything on there is made from metal. This is a carbon-based universe. Basically, we are made from organic metal. So with that being said, you can't have one type of metal as far as it being raw. You can't just out of nowhere start eating copper or lead, but there are some people that actually do have addictions towards things like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is dangerous, as well as, shocking that someone that eats nails, someone that likes to eat metal, aluminum foil cans, stuff like that, if they haven't ripped open their stomach. They have iron freaking stomachs. But the part that I'm trying to explain is, knowing all of this, given my thesis, it's been annoying how last year was so crazy and demonic. Lots of witchcraft play in it, trying to shut me down. As well as this year starting to become a new year. It's the year of good fortune, which I was born, 36 years ago, almost. March 3rd, I turned 36. That's the 3-6, 999, 666, up, down, 3/3, and then the other three, demons, three demons, revelation, kings beat, so all of that Sumerian text, all of that stuff, the two that are one, the one that is all of that, that in reference is me. But here I am in a mortal world doing all my YouTube videos. Like a year ago, I looked crazy when I figured out nuclear combustions of atomic uh, engineering and all of that alchemy, as far as separating the particulars, elements, the atoms, the nucleus, neutrons, electrons, photons, all of that. The whole part of assembly and disassembly has to be in the order that it originally was instructed to build. What has to go backwards to unbuild. And so knowing these type of things like that shows great depth of my skills to discover or learn or process, et cetera, et cetera. Are we robots? Well, a lot of people act AI-ish. This last year, I had friends, and even when I got locked up, there were people that were talking about some people are really AIs. I mean, they look like real people, but they're like robotic. Like a dude I was locked up with. I mean, this is not beside the point, but it's kind of off main topic. He was like, she was real beautiful, cute. I was like, hey, you want to go back, hang out here, blah, blah. And she just kept doing things that were a little bit robotic. So we do have that type of robotic simulation, as well as being in a simulated world, which is not connected to as much of the universe as is taught. You have to pretty much put something into an action movement, give it direction to go forward in order for it to have changes going through, like the quantum fields, going through our universe, going through our atmosphere bubble, different things like that. So it has to have different channels as far as frequency, radiation. It has to be able to have all of those components to be able to withstand whatever particular mass that it reaches and goes through. right? So knowing this type of stuff, information, we've been lied to for a long time. A lot of people that are in power are either with it or not with it, just trying to maintain what they know. So that's the part on my behalf that is very confusing. I say, is it aliens? Is it extraterrestrial aliens? Is it freaking government and agencies and, Secret Service? Is it only scientists? Is it military and their scientists? Is it powers from beyond in which they're here and they're either watching on a freaking mirror or a freaking uh, a big pot with water in it, like a witch status? Is it where they're using technology where it's tiny little micro, nano freaking cameras? They're so tiny, they're floating in the air, kind of like the Willy Wonka bar of chocolate. The way that they shrunk it and it's up in the air, are we having those little tiny dots that are so tiny that they could land in your eye and be visual from your view, as well as being right next to you and having the whole shot like if it was a camera and you're in the studio? These type of things with Black Mirror and their British science. And, you look at Middle East and you look at Hindu and you look at everything. I mean, it constantly is changing up on us and trying to redirect our way of thinking, the way that we process things. Sometimes people have short-term memory. Sometimes people have problems with long-term memory. Other times we're getting our memory neuralized, transmitters reset as far as them cutting off what we knew and then putting a new type of simulation understanding, which is the same but without certain pieces. You know what I mean? It's kind of like beta code. If you take out certain beta codes here and there and there in your paragraph of whole beta code, then obviously the simulation module is going to be a little bit different as far as even your computer website, things like that. So you need to understand the huge real picture of everything. Now, the same thing goes with DNA, components as far as flags, shapes, ancient geometry. I've been saying this for quite some time, almost 2 years. And last year I got my butt kicked. I got a strike, a felony. I'm like on that list of let's treat him like shit. He doesn't know who we are. We hear him, he hears us. We don't talk about certain things. When I was homeless here and there, I got set up, and that's where they try to laugh at me and create this life, making my life a joke, And during that time, I'm here on this plane, and people are walking by. If it was only one combustion, one universe, where it didn't have any interference with other channels, then people would have just walked by, either said, excuse me, not say nothing, say hello, whatever. Instead, different channels were interfering. And at the same time, I'm walking by, or even a block or two, city blocks away, you hear people like, like that dude's fucking gross, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, can we walk around like this? So people see that I'm not speaking, Things like that, where people would be like, what the? And then I'd be like, shit, like I gotta try to be psychic and telepathic because somebody else is actually pinpointing their ability to speak in their mind and pinpoint it on me. When you are a pillar of light, you are pretty much like a satellite dish. And not only are you going to receive signals, but you're also going to bounce them back off. A lot of that has to do with, the science as far as, can't remember the guy's name in this, but it's where things bounce off, and it had to do with atoms and all of that. His name was like the Kinetican or something theory. Anyways, it's a lot like handball. When you throw that ball and hit it, or racquetball, it's always going to bounce back. So the fact that it bounced back off of me with my neurotransmitters, it made me a target as well as unwelcomed. That part right there blows my mind, and it made me suffer for a bit. That is also the new type of thing that is going on with people left and right, whether they're a little bit spacey on drugs or whatever. But the fact is, we have so many experiences and examples. I said it before, that guy, I forget his name, but Son of Sam, he believed that the dog, you see the little dogs over there? The dog was actually possessing him like it was a demon and making him do things. Otherwise, it wouldn't shut up and stop talking to him. That wasn't the dog. That was psychic energy, or that was deities. That was some crazy demonic shit that really had nothing to do with the dog. The dog was just barking. But the fact that we have these factors that are so crazy with the paranormal phenomenons, this is my evidence to explain everything in detail. So these videos, when I upload them to YouTube, I don't really see anybody at all, views, nothing. How do videos end up going viral when really it's either something good but not educational, yet there's millions freaking viewers in rapidly hours, in 2 days, and within a week? Yet all this important information has just undergone freaking, main server, computer, NASA, wherever the heck. They're like, all right, shut them down. Let's make them think that it's online, but hardly people view it. Or, let's put it in the back of the line. However that works, I've said some strange things. It does make sense. But at the same time, the recognition for helping has not actually gone through to help at all, So I do these videos, I upload them to my YouTube, my Facebook, Instagram. I'll start doing some of those again. But I already have past Instagram, TikTok, and all of that, Victor Osborn on Facebook and YouTube, Instagram. And I'm not sure if I did one on TikTok like that, but I know I did Victorio Chuska, that's Azucar, because life should be sweet. I was always prompting that on my little video post. And shit, I got the shit kicked out of me as far as having extreme knowledge and some supernatural abilities, and them getting taken away somehow. Somebody was in power, this world, that world, wherever, however it is that we're able to constantly correspond and make these crazy ancient geometry shapes, because they're not only in the stars as far as being able to reference these shapes and how they align, this and that. It's also the way that we connect telepathically with frequency and signal. The blanket of frequency is going to have some type of flatness, like pulled, kind of like a bed sheet, with somebody, dragging their finger across. You're going to see that depth of the line, where on this world, that signal bounced out past the universe, and not only came back, but also shot out past that. You get what I'm saying? So even though you throw a tennis ball at the wall, not only is that tennis ball, and a different metaphor from earlier, going to bounce back, and you're going to get the same frequency again, then you're going to have these corporations try to shut it down and delete it again. Make sure that it's not back up on YouTube or any of these news feeds, But it's going to end up hitting back, as well as when it hit the wall, it didn't hit the wall. A subatomic secondary actually went through, kind of like a ghost running through a wall. Well, imagine the person that's running through a wall actually has both going that way and that way after, you went to throw the ball at the wall. You get it? So that type of signal and frequency is magical, powerful energy, and that's what you need to understand about signals. Megahertz, all of that references all of this advanced science. Being the one in this universe, in this mortal universe, in this carbon-based universe, being components of all metal, we don't look like we're metal. But you have iron, you have zinc, you have sulfur, you have all of those. Look at the element chart. Even though it has the little letters that combust to tell you what it's made of, sulfite, sulfate, acid, oxygen, hydrogen, it still will point down on the bottom where it says metal, like they are all different metals, So that's what creates our universe. And then you have to think about other universes, When did they come out with this diet Coke? Has zero sugar but it's sweet. When did you start having all of these things that substitute, or you know what I mean? So there are many different universes, and we all come from different parts. So when you're looking at Alien, remember, even though we all came from Earth, there are different Earths that come together, two, three, four, whatever, as one. There's a 3D universe. So that part right there, it seems like that factor of three worlds. And it started off with one, a neutral, then it became two, positive, negative. Then all of a sudden we're in this combustion of neutral, positive, negative. Three dimensions, three dots. You see what I'm saying? So the whole format of 3 and 1 and three parts, it's like 3/9 or 1/3. Well, what about opposite way? Oh, 3/1. What is that? Well, that's three. You get what I'm saying? So that whole part of understanding numbers is crazy to blow your mind. This video is also, help reference towards this book that I'm going to be working on. Like, I'm really going to get serious on it because now, even though I don't have the funds, the company offered a sweet deal. It's the third one as far as competitors. And as I, submit my work, I will also be having payments, boom, boom, boom. Therefore, once I get this whole ordeal fixed with unemployment and these checks from like long time ago of money owed, not being paid well from, unemployment, and they used to be Bank of America, and then it became Money Network. And so, these few checks should help out with just getting this book started, Other than that, I gotta catch up on paying a little bit of rent just to help out my dad. I gotta pay for the phone as far as having a better phone. So when you have a network phone, it's a lot better than the cheap smartphones that are at the tents for the homeless, people that have EBT cards. Why? Because of all of the viruses, all the trackers, all the hackers, all of these schemes with governments and agencies that are constantly messing up your life. This video, I'm surprised that I've been able to record it without the phone shutting off. And earlier today, I stated a bunch of stuff on my Victor Osborn Facebook that I have it tagged with my other page, which is on one account, which is cool, level 2 on Facebook. I have lots of badges. I don't know if there was any prize money or awards in those senses, but getting all of this understanding with, your 40101, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum thinking, atomic quantum physics, all of these different things. I don't know how to write it like Einstein, but I do know the simulation format as well as explaining it verbally and even putting it in literature. These are type of ways that I learned. And so if only somebody can show me all of that Hindu, Hebrew, Greek, devil freaking symbols that are on the quantum physics with like how Einstein wrote it down. Nobody paid attention to all that. And no offense to all of these other tribes or families that are so long distant and disconnected that they think I was talking shit. You have this side, you have that side. You have good, bad, you have good, evil, you have black, white, black, universes. And we're not talking about people. We're talking about these realms. We're talking about negative and positive, purpose and mission. That's just some examples that is barely like a quarter or 1/8 or 1/10 of the pizza pie. I mean, how many solar systems are there? How many universes? How many dimensions? How many multi-universes? How many particulars are floating around in something where they're all disconnected? But we do have governments and all of those type of high-powered abusing their authority and power, ranking up with the technology that shows whether it's what you call magic or witchcraft and alchemy and science, or technology, which is with science, but it's all still a form of alchemy. It's all still a form of witchcraft. It's all still a form of magic. Aliens are magical beings. If they could glow, if they evolved, if they're able to telepathically speak or use telekinesis, if you're able to hypnotize, if you're able to put someone to sleep, that's the power of witchcraft. So if you have ET and he has his little finger glowing, hey, this motherfucker from outer space is a witch. He's a magician, he's a sorcerer, he's an enchanter, he's a sorcerer, necromancer. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So that's basically what I wanted to say in a nutshell. But Victorio Chuska Azhocar, BCA, if Jesus is victorious, then obviously that's also Jesus Christ, and Jesus Antichrist. JCA, VCA, I know my shit. Tesla, Einstein, Emilia, the list can go on. Bruce Lee, Queen Diana, JFK. I mean, there's so many out there. Rest in peace. As well as, are you at the waiting station? Are you under the underworld? Are you dealing with some cuckoo guy that used to be mortal, then became a god? Is he, from the Greek world? Is he from the Hindu world? I mean, three dimension, you always have a creator, a what is it called, stabilizer, and like an ender. Beginning, stabilize, and ending. You always have like the tree of life, something that's in between, and then tree of death. Trifecta, 1, 2, 3, all parallel, all very relevant. And here we have the trifecta. And it doesn't matter which way you put it. If it's straight across, it goes 1, 2, 3, and somehow it lands back up on 1, 2, 3, and it's back to the beginning. Whether it's a circle, triangle, this whole thing is crazy ridiculous. And I blew the knob off the door when it came to this fucking Matrix and Genesis, part of my language. But I already been through it. I shouldn't go through it again. I could explain the crazy details. Oh, I will give a great example to all of you viewers, whether it's only 1 or 2, whether it's 10 subscribers, whether it's 5,000 followers. Like, I appreciate all of you who actually took the time to pay attention to this. Remember, the guy that's on this video is not crazy. What's crazy is the shit we go through and how we're all still trying to understand it. I mean, whoever set this whole fucking ant farm ordeal for us to be running a circus, shame on them. Shame on them. There's such thing as watchers, whether they're ET, extraterrestrial, archangel, demons, ghosts, spirits, deities, entities, whatnot, or even freaking secret undercover agents that are in invisible costumes, or it could sound ridiculous, but I mean, we are in a anything's possible while it's left to delude you to think a lot of things aren't possible type of universe. So one thing that I know, and I've been getting pissed off, I hear the psychic part as far as like communicating. I tell certain spirits or far psychics or astral projectors, whoever's been acknowledging me, to stop freaking following me, stop bugging me, stop telling me, oh, you talk, we're not going to help you. Oh, we're not allowed to help you no more. It's been annoying. I mean, I keep it to myself, but I've learned some shit, When I heard little words like magic mirror and I looked it up and boom, all of a sudden I see how there was the metal circle that was so shiny that when they had like a candle or light hitting the back of it, it would reflect an image on the wall. I haven't posted that yet. I've learned, the golden arch or golden, the swirl, it's in the canvases as well as being a method to paint, Da Vinci used it. And golden fence, golden arch, golden path, or something like that. I can't remember the last word right now. I've come across to learn so much with so many different universes. Now, Da Vinci's picture, this is off topic, was he drawing himself as a female, or did he know that somewhere else in a different universe he was the opposite? Negative, positive, he was a female there, whoop de whoop, boom, boom, boom. Crazy secrets. And as far as having a scar looking thing in the sky, and it was a fucking huge rock that was obviously powered by telekinesis and the atoms and all of that from, one person's mind, as well as connecting the chakras and having the whole, team able to upload it and, fly off, whether they're evolved, ancient aliens, deity gods, whatever. That's some crazy shit that I know about. But when you could breathe in carbon dioxide instead of worrying about oxygen, you know that you could just take that rock and fly into outer space and go to another planet. Hello. But again, we are metal base. We are carbon base. People need to not dilute themselves to think that all of this being atomic and actually radioactive is not a form of metal. So what else did I want to say? Oh, when I was able to last year actually move things, like this year still, I could be looking at a picture and just like the movie The Craft, you will see the picture actually having water, like moving. You'll see the branches of leaves. This picture right here that's like near the wall. You see how that's like a old pot and it has like the sticks, like if it's bamboo or something sticking out. Literally, if I stare at it and I focus, I could see it come to life where it starts to open up and, just shows like if wind was hitting it and it was actually real, just like The Craft. But last year, where we had stronger currents of magical energy, I was able to move huge buildings and make them like turn and lean. And though I was homeless, and it sounds like, oh, he's a crackhead or he's a tweaker, I never used that word because I don't like spells. I have experimented. I did realize how ancient aliens and Anunnaki and Hitler and everybody has founded this formula, which is, a form of witchcraft. You're making something out of something else, and it has a lot to do with which it changes you. Obviously, it's witchcraft. Whether you're getting the powder or cream off of the cocoa leaves and you're making coke, whether you're freaking putting a bunch of chemicals together in a freaking wizard type lab, a chem lab, that's witchcraft. Heroin, opium, all of these things, that's all witchcraft. So originally I was on the streets, and if you're trying to call me a tweaker, don't. Hex on you, by power 3 times 3, let you see and go and experience shit even if you don't use. Shame on you for using that term. I only say to keep safe that I smoked, I experimented. Snorting, eating, all of that messes up your functions of your bodily system, creating, birth defects and, lots of illnesses, so it's better to always sweat out something that is naturally made for you to sweat out. That is something very important, If you were to do something like fentanyl, which is made a lot like meth, except the heating and the cooling process is completely different. So therefore it's called flippa, That right there, have I ever made all that stuff in the lab? No. But right away when I was looking up some science to try to explain my thesis, boom, 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 back and forth, it just popped up and I read it on my phone. I was like, yes, this is the freaking knowledge I need. This is what I'm trying to tell people, So before I get back to the main story, remember, onk with the line, turn it sideways, onk with the line. That is a black hole with the earth getting sucked into it and making that whole swirl and stretching mark. But you have to remove the cross. It's now not a cross, it's now vertical because the Ankh was with circle, cross, and bottom line for male, as they say. That's just one part of this type of puzzling symbol that people use. But when you look at it also without the cross, what do you see? A freaking oil burner. So, you might say he's crazy. You might talk shit because you're ignorant. And, that's only to those that are talking shit and ignorant instead of actually being amazing. You know what I mean? It's important to give positive vibes, to always tribute positivity and let it bounce back and make you more positive. So for those that are negative, may the power of 3 times 3 let you see and let you be hex cursed, bewitched, and walk a fine line and freaking, crack those eggshells under you. F off. No offense to the rest of the world, whoever's not negative. But when it comes to that, I mean, why would it be in the hieroglyphics that I discovered? Why would all of this crazy stuff trying to, Blair Witch Project me and set me up left and right and keep all of my information? Shh. Why would I get invited to initiate joining with a certain Mason and me saying no? Especially with them trying to get me to sacrifice a baby goat with oils and candles, witchcraft candles. I mean, I'm not paying no fee. I'm not gonna hurt a freaking baby goat. I'm not gonna hurt anything that's infant. And that's an infant. Am I saying that word right? And then I'm not gonna join your stupid stinky club. A bunch of witches that get together and get to plot the world and keep making numbers and sacrifices, casualties and tragedies, and keep the world spinning with all your evil manipulation. I'm not gonna join them. You're not getting rid of me. You're not killing me. Yet you try to get people to kill me. Yet you killed me in other Genesis and other realms and, the universes, as I explained. And you succeeded many other times. But for some reason, the strength and power of all of that reconnecting to me, being a pillar of light, that spark will always come back to that person that you try to take it away from. Whether he's in this life or that life or that life, it's going to find its way and it's going to return to who it was given to. So a lot of people have backed off, and I've heard all of the different complaints of voices, this and that. And, from one person to another, you'll see that my thesis, all of what I explained, shows that I'm not a person that you would try to say mentally ill, he should be in a hospital. I know people like that, and it sucks because I could tell the difference between violated and having traumas and the opposite of not being mentally ill, but actually trying to find out why they're not fully stable, even though they are completely sane. It's because they're interdimensional. So, to the ignorant people that became hard workers or lazy slackers that don't know how to run a company, to create something from scratch, that didn't look into a bunch of science, no offense to half of you. Like, again, I always have to put that out there. I'm not talking to every single person saying you're all stupid ignorant. I'm only doing that to the ones that are negative. The ones that don't take this in and really think to open and widen their horizon, you're just going to keep freaking having tunnel vision. Getting what you want, not getting it, being angry, but having that much to see instead of the rest of the big picture. Everyone else, thank you for your time. Oh, before I finish off, I almost left off on this part. With the gravity of the situation that I explained, that I was able to actually bend elements on Earth, clouds moving where I wanted to, this and that. Trees grew amazing. They still do. If I'm in a forest somewhere and I'm sleeping and I feel like some people are trying to walk up on me or something, nature will have my back and you will see stuff that does not grow often that fast. Just sits there with cobwebs and dust and old leaves that got old. I go out there and sleep. Why? Well, because when I was homeless, I didn't want my stuff getting jacked constantly. So I went out to areas where, you have riverbeds. You have a bunch of trees here and there, little pathways, When I did that, a lot more crazy phenomenons that you would call biblical or religious or supernatural, they took part in my life. And so the one thing that remains is the beauty in nature. The trees and bushes will grow fast and rapidly. So therefore, when I wake up a day later or a night later and sleep and hang out in the daytime all day, or all day, maybe even if I do it for 3 days, I will come out of the bushes and I'll be like, dang, it went from 3 foot, 4 foot stubs and bushes to being over my head 6 and 7 feet. You'll have so much grown flowers, leaves, and it's beautiful. But I feel bad, not so much in the part of making people work harder and do it all over, because shame on them for wasting their time trying to destroy nature. You know what I mean? Too much concrete, too much all of this shit that made people poisonously sick for a long time because of their memory and what they were taught. If you're taught that metal is metal and you're not made from metal and carbon base, then you're gonna find in your mind a way to actually try to stay away from it, and it becomes poisonous. You shouldn't be having it how it is today with the alchemy, as far as sitting on concrete and then letting your butt get all scratchy and you're always itching it because of the little tiny dust, particles, they end up, going into your skin and giving you, irritation. That type of stuff's not right. But when you have real metal, like rock, stone, minerals, big pieces and slabs, you know that you won't have that type of irritation, that type of reaction. So, like I said, all of that's important, and it's a waste of time that people have jobs like that and all that. But for those that are trying to finish something of a contract, if they're getting fired, I would feel bad. If they are just constantly working and say, fuck it, we don't care, we like getting paid and we're doing a good job. We chop the trees, we, clean the bushes, we clear out ways, and then next week something weird happens, it's all there again, then hey, I'm glad I'm helping. But to show proof that I'm not crazy, and around that time, all of my stuff kept getting stolen, my phones. So at the same time I had the ability to do things, I also had the weirdest fucking paranormal bullshit phases of something snatching all of my stuff. So again, when I had a long freaking arm or of a tree that had its freaking branch that's like not really a branch, obviously, it's like a log, but it's connected and it's still going into the ground and all that. It's beautifully, it's still alive. Even if it wasn't alive in the sense of having roots, the fact that the elements were able to actually move and bend and arch up, I couldn't get it to arch up past a certain level. I mean, I was trying to focus, Dr. Xavier shit, X-Men type shit. I was really trying like so hard. But to show that I wasn't making up shit for my own satisfaction, because, it's like I don't need to share this with the rest of the world if people want to call me a bullshitter. But those that actually are like, prove it, or, help me to understand and know that you're not lying or whatever. Like, I appreciate that. And so that's where I want to try to help you to know that I'm not making up bullshit. I haven't got no money, I haven't got no freaking views and made $1 million or whatever, like how people do with their viral freaking videos. Again, this is type of information where you'd think that you'd get a lot more attention. I haven't. And being locked up for almost 3 months and getting beaten, jumped, and always disciplined, be in the pocket. Someone starting shit with me, I fucking talk back. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, you disrespect. Like, no, that shit ain't fair. But again, I'm trying to make sure I get out from a bullshit case that was set up. And I'm trying to make sure that I keep my head low while I orchestrate a new way to try to go about things, with underworld, upper world, outer space, this place, whatever it is with these secret societies. Some call them satanic cults. I call them piece of shit groups, whoever's trying to fucking offend me and, keep destroying the world. But with this type of experiment that I did, I would get a stick, a branch, something that stood up pretty straight and was taller than the big freaking piece of wood, the log, the branch. Can't remember the exact fucking term right now. I apologize. It's not a stem. It's a huge piece. It's going this way while the rest is going that way. It's like it went like that. You know what I mean? This tree went up that way. This other part of it went like that. And I got this piece and I put it up to it. It's like I go like this. Here's this stick, and I would measure. Okay, it's that far off the ground. As I would step back and I would make this whole thing freaking go like that to arch more and lengthen and stretch. Finally, I got that stick to be able to go right under, like if it was like that, you know what I mean? Like it was right under it, but standing up straight. And it showed me, as well as, I'm not tripping, I'm not crazy, but I already knew that. It's just a fact that I was able to raise things up a couple inches. You know, at the most, I raised things up like 2-3 feet. So instead of crawling real low or hopping over it, I was able to kind of like bend down and squat and like do duck walk and get through these little rows. You know, that was in the river bottom area. There's a couple river bottoms all through San Diego, and you know, that's a little bit of my experiences as far as being 35 and going through some crazy trippy shit. Anyways, much love.